Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here, my name is Ben. I'm an online entrepreneur, and here on my YouTube channel, I show you all about my reselling business in hopes that it'll help you out in your own. In today's video, I've picked out 15 different items that have sold over on my eBay store in the last few weeks in hopes that me talking about them will help you look for this kind of stuff when you're outsourcing yourself. So if you do like content like this, please leave me a comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you learned in this video. Also remember to hit the like button, make it turn blue, and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. With all that being said, let's hop right into today's video. Here we have our first item. This is a vintage Cincinnati Cyclones hockey jersey. Now, I've sold a lot of Cyclones stuff in the past because I am from Cincinnati, but this one was special because it had the old logo on it. Normally when I find Cyclone stuff, it's like the new Tornado logo. This one had some age to it. It was in great condition, and overall, right when I picked it up, I could tell it was something special. Now, I didn't think I was going to get this much money for it. I was thinking like right around the $50 mark, but after looking up comps and everything, this ended up being a pretty rare jersey. I bought it for $10 at a yard sale, and I ended up selling it for a best offer of $150 in about a month. So keep an eye out for vintage hockey jerseys, especially ones that are not the current logo. Those ones seem to do better, but hockey stuff in general, I've been selling very well in the last 2 years, and I only expect this stuff to keep going up in value. Next up here we have a pair of Jordans. These are the Lakers colorway, which was a little bit special about them. As you can see right here on the Nike swoosh, it's got the purple and yellow or purple and gold colorway on it, which is an awesome thing to look for. Anytime you can have a little bit of a special edition shoe, it's going to help the value out. But Jordans in general sell very well. Shoes aren't my favorite thing to sell just because I find them annoying to ship. That's just a personal thing. You can do some very good money on shoes, and I definitely don't shy away from them. They're just not my favorite thing. But Jordans in general are going to have good value if you can get them cheap. I believe I picked these up for $10 at a Goodwill, and they sat in my store for about 2 months, maybe 3 months, and I ended up selling them for $71.95. Okay, this item is pretty cool. This is a pair of Carlos Santana Dragonfly swim trunks. Now, I wasn't sure at the thrift store when I found these what they were, but I could just tell from the vibrant colors and the design that these are probably something that I'm just going to pick up. After doing a little research at the thrift store, I figured out that they were indeed valuable, and they were just an awesome score. As you can see down here on the leg, they have the Santana spell out. On the inside, here's the brand, the Dragonfly. Since I found these, I figured out that Dragonfly is a pretty good brand to look for. They do multiple things from shirts to swim trunks, and it's definitely one that I'm having on my radar from now on. But this sale was awesome. I paid like $5 for these at the thrift store and ended up selling them for $60 in about a month's time. This next one's pretty cool. This is an Ermenegildo Zegna Quindici necktie. I hope I said that right. I know I probably didn't. I always butcher those names. But the reason I'm showing this one is because I would not have known about these neckties being worth so much if it wasn't for one of you guys in the comment section, which I really do appreciate. I think that's an awesome thing about networking here on YouTube. We can all help each other learn. But I actually found one of these right before the quarantine happened, and I ended up underselling it, didn't get what I should have out of it. And this time I ended up finding another one, found this for like $4 at the thrift store, ended up selling it for $125 on this necktie. Now I'm going to show you guys how to identify them because I had no idea what it was when I first was looking at these. Normally the patterns are going to be very bright, they're going to stand out. You're going to want to look for his name on the tie itself, but the key thing that gives them away of being a higher end model is this color strip that goes down the inside of the tie. That is what's going to tip you off to look it up and make sure that you are doing your research on it. Now, this one had a design number right here, 107, and on the neck portion of the tie, it actually said Quindici on it, which, I mean, made it really easy to look up. But overall, look for these Quindici ties. They are great money, and they are probably something that is overlooked heavily by resellers. Here we have a Kingman Spider paintball gun. Now, I actually just recently had a comment in one of my last videos asking me about the paintball guns. When you are putting paintball guns onto eBay, the way you want to list them is as a paintball marker, as we can see right here. You want to make sure you have marker in there, and then you have to sell it under the specific category under the sports section in order for the listing not to get pulled by eBay. Now, this one was I believe a $15 pickup at a yard sale, and it had like the tank and some extras. It had like a hopper and a few pods with it. But anyways, I paid 15 bucks for this, ended up selling it in about a month's time for a best offer of $100. Another thing about paintball guns is you want to make sure they're in pretty good condition. Obviously, they are being used out in like the woods and on courses and stuff. People are falling on them. You want to look for cracks and stuff around the barrel and around the marker body itself. You also want to check out the tubing down here where the air connects, just to make sure nothing looks off or like it's fraying or anything. And if you can, you want to attach a CO2 canister to the gun to test it out if you have the ability to. This next item is a little different. This is a dog garment. This is a Roughwear Adventure Gear vest. Now, I've actually sold Roughwear in wholesale over on Amazon before. I bought the wholesale stuff and sold it that way. But this particular one came from a thrift store, and I was quite happy to find it because I knew this logo, and when I saw it, I knew it was worth something. This particular one was new without tags, and the way I could tell that is because the tag attachment was still there. The cardboard had been ripped off, not a big deal. Sold it new without tags, as we can see right here, and I ended up getting $35 for this. If you find this new with tags, they usually go around the $50 mark, which is awesome. I suggest selling on Amazon if you can, because you'll get a little more money there. But if you find these used down your dog section, make sure you're looking them up. The different models will be worth different things. This one just happened to be a pretty good one, so keep an eye out for Roughwear stuff. It is something that will sell well, new or used. Okay, I actually found this up in my inventory when I was looking for an item, and I realized that this, for some reason, wasn't listed. I picked this up like last summer in a big lot of G.I. Joe stuff and Transformer stuff. This is a Generation 2 Ramjet from 1993, and like I said, I just don't know how I didn't list it. I ended up getting it listed like 2 weeks ago, and it sold within a week for $85. I had, I don't know, maybe a buck or two into this because it was in a big lot of stuff, but vintage toys and Transformers and G.I. Joe stuff sells extremely well. Just make sure you're doing your research when you find them, because you want to identify which generation and what year they came from. Collectors care about that stuff, and if you can get it complete with the little weapons and attachments, that is going to boost the value exponentially. This one had the little missiles, the gloves or the hands right here, as well as this little card that came with it. Great sale, couldn't ask for much better, and sometimes when you find stuff in your inventory, just make sure it's listed, because this should have been sold a long time ago. Here we have that Snap-on tap and die set that I picked up at a garage sale. I believe I paid like $5 for this, but Snap-on is a great tool brand to learn. If you guys are just getting into tools, this is a brand that you need to know. They make sockets, they make tap and dies, they make all kinds of stuff, wrenches, everything you can think of, and everybody wants Snap-on. It's a great quality brand and something that you should know if you're just getting into tools. This was an incomplete set. As you can see, it's missing items in here. It's missing a few of the pieces. Not too huge of a deal. It did devalue it, obviously, but I still ended up getting it sold for $99.99, so $100. And this one actually went overseas, got the feedback for it. He was extremely happy with it. Here's another example of something that I totally forgot I had. This was in the bottom of my death pile for the longest time. This is a vintage kuji or kugi, I don't know how you say that, Australia wool sweater. This brand does extremely well for their sweaters. If you ever see a sweater with this like 3D pattern on it and you see this tag on it, you want to pick it up. Now, their t-shirts and stuff don't sell for as much. That stuff still sells, you might be able to get 15, 20 bucks for it, but their sweaters are what you want to find. Typically, they'll be in a really, really bright colorway, all different kinds of colors, very flamboyant and bright. This one was a black and white version and ended up selling for a best offer of $95. Now, this is the black and white one, but those flamboyant, colorful ones I was talking about, those can actually sell in like the $150 to $300 range pretty frequently, especially during the winter months. And as we move towards the fall, you're going to see stuff like this going for higher and higher prices. Next, we have a baseball bat. This is a Easton Mako baseball bat. If you ever see Mako, it's probably a good chance that it's worth something. When you're buying baseball bats, you just want to make sure you run your fingernails over the barrels to make sure that there are no cracks in it. Scuffs and scrapes, not a big deal, but if you can physically catch a crack on your fingernails, that's when you know it's probably not worth selling. People don't want cracked bats. It's not worth picking up, and it's not worth the hassle of returns. Now, I do get a lot of questions from you guys on how I actually ship bats. If you go on USPS's website, there is a specific box for shipping like bats and baseball or golf clubs and stuff like that. It's a very long triangle box. You just order one of those. This slides right inside of it. I wrap it up a little bit so it doesn't move around, and then you just ship it out to the customer. It's really easy. It's right on USPS's website, and if you're not into baseball bats, get into them. Even though baseball season's not happening right now, I've still sold like, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the last month, so keep an eye out. This next listing here is for a lot of manga. It's a set, a series. If you guys don't know what manga is, I've talked about it before. It's a Japanese like comic book or light novel, whatever you want to call it. It's what like anime is based off of. Anyways, I picked up a lot of these at a garage sale earlier summer. I paid like 25 cents a book, and I've already made a killing on the rest of the series. This was my final one that I had to sell. This was Marmalade Boy, and it is a vintage series, which is something you want to look for with manga. The vintage ones have a collector's market for them. When I originally listed these, I listed it at like $150 or $175 or something like that. I was shooting high because mine was the only complete set on eBay at the time. Since then, other people had listed their sets, so I had to drop the price a little bit. Ended up selling for $99.99, so $100 for these 8 books. Completely something that you guys need to learn and need to keep an eye out for. Manga is hot right now. Manga and anime stuff is just blowing up in price, and something that you should learn ASAP. This one's a little interesting. This is a set of 13 DVDs. I had no idea what this was when I picked it up. I picked it up at like a pet adoption sale thing. They were raising money for an animal shelter. And when I got home, I was pleasantly surprised to see that this was selling for well over $100 on Amazon. Unfortunately, I was gated on Amazon, so I put it on eBay. Now, there were other ones listed on eBay, however, they were all in English, and mine was not. So I ended up listing this at a little bit higher of a price than some of the other ones on eBay. I listed it at $115, and it ended up selling for a best offer of $100. This was just something that was unexpected. You can see right here, 13 DVDs. And sometimes these sets end up surprising you. I don't sell a ton of DVDs or media and stuff like that. And the reason I picked this one up is because it was a 13 disc set, and that seemed a little odd. And then when I picked up the case itself, it felt like a pretty high quality cardboard and print that was on it. So I was like, hey, I'm going to take a chance on it. And that chance ended up paying off. So I'm extremely happy with this. Make sure you're checking out some of these more obscure DVD sets, because some of them are worth some very good money. Alright, if you watched my 127 sale, the world's longest yard sale video, you would have saw that I picked up 2 of these at a sale. I ended up paying like $0.25 a piece for these or something like that. But this is a Windows 7 Ultimate operating system. Old operating system stuff can still hold value if it was one of the higher end operating systems. So this one being Ultimate held its value pretty well. You can put it on multiple PCs. This was before they had dedicated PC keys, which means that this one is desirable still. Ended up selling both copies in under a week for $60 a piece. So I turned 50 cents into $120. Great sale right there. Definitely something that you can find at yard sales, and definitely something to keep an eye out for. All right, here we have a clothing piece. This is a Levi's men's water-resistant jacket. As you can see here, Levi Strauss, brand new with tags, MSRP of $180. I ended up picking this up at a Ross clearance sale. Now, if you're not familiar with retail arbitrage or sourcing from like Ross's or TJ Maxx's or Marshall's or Home Goods or any of that stuff, those kind of stores typically run a sale 2 to 4 times a year where they just mark down the last season's clearance stuff to even further clearance, and Ross does theirs insanely cheap if you can get there the first day. I walked out with like 3 carts full of clothing, ended up paying $5 for this jacket, sold it for $90. I ended up picking up like 4 of these at the time. I think I might have 1 left. But if you're just getting into the retail arbitrage game and flipping it onto eBay and Amazon, learn when your store's clearance sales are. Ross always has a awesome one. TJ Maxx and Marshalls have them multiple times a year. Burlington has theirs multiple times a year. They are worth noting or worth calling the store to see when they do their sales, because you can get some awesome deals. Like I said, paid $5 for this, sold multiple of them at $90 a piece. And our last item of this video is this Nikon aspherical lens. I picked this up at a yard sale along with a Nikon camera battery earlier this summer for like 20 bucks. Ended up selling the lens by itself for $129.95. Awesome sale right here. If you don't know camera equipment, make sure you are looking it up whenever you come across it. As you look stuff up, you'll learn what to look for. In this case, I knew that aspherical was a keyword that popped out in my head and definitely something that I knew had some value behind it. And I am glad that I ended up picking this up because it sold pretty quickly in about a month's time. And on top of that, I also sold the camera body for an additional profit. So make sure you're learning camera stuff if you are not familiar with it. One thing I will tell you is when you're looking at the lenses, you want to make sure that there is no scratching going on the glass, and you want to look at the lens to make sure there is no dust or mildew or mold growth under the glass part of the lens itself. In some of the old vintage lenses that you'll find that have been sitting around in like basements and stuff, sometimes you'll see dust or mildew or buildup under there. Those are typically a pass. It's really hard to clean, but if you can find some clean ones, they have some incredible value behind them. And that's it. That's going to wrap things up for this video. If you learned something, please let me know down in the comments what you learned. Also, if you like this kind of content, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more. I put out content like this pretty frequently, and it will help you out in the future. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and until next time, keep on treasure hunting. Peace.